Hi, guys, and welcome to my Freaky Friday feelings panel. Hello, Lulu. Welcome to my Freaky Friday feelings panel. Today, we're going to be talking about a lot of things. I've only got an hour, so I'm going to try to get as much feelings talk in there as possible today. Waiting for see if anyone else is going to show up. Are you talking about the lake on my profile picture? No, that's Colorado, but we have some really pretty lakes here too. Oh, thank you. So again, welcome to my Freaky Fridays feelings panel. Anyone is welcome to come up and share their feelings about anything. I do have some things I want to talk about today. Number one, we're going to be covering ways to cope with stress. Stress is one of our number one killers. Um, so coping skills for that is a pretty important thing, I think. And we're just going to be sharing our ideas and what we use as coping skills. Maybe give an idea to other people who don't know what coping skills are or have never developed them. Most people by my age have developed some sort of coping skills. Coping skills are just something that you use to deal with stress. A lot of people use writing, a lot of people use music, a lot of people will um, they do whatever they can to escape their current reality by watching movies or playing video games. Some people, uh, their coping skills are talking to other people, um, doing physical activities like working out. Um, some people use like work or something like that as a coping skill. But if work is causing your stress, that's not going to work for you. So maybe some downtime or something like that. So one of the ways that I cope with stress is I go for walks. I talk to people. I write things down. Um, if um, if work is stressing me out and I can't leave, um, that's one of the things I kind of want to get into because I don't have a lot of good coping skills for that, and I thought maybe someone else would have a better idea than I do. I mean, going outside and taking a deep breath or taking a few deep breaths. Sometimes you can't go outside. Sometimes you can't take a break. So deep breathing is very important, I think. And maybe gently reminding yourself that this too shall pass. Um, so that's one of the things I want to talk about today is how to cope with stress. The other thing, I just want to say, if you the reason why I started this panel is because I've been stuck in a rut lately myself, and if you spend your entire life with the mentality of my trauma has fucked me up and that's why I am the way I am, instead of learning how to heal and grow from your trauma, then you become your own problem. So I don't want to become my own problem to myself. At least I don't want to stay there. It's okay to be sad for a while. It's okay to feel your feelings, but to stay with them, indefinitely and not accomplish anything is probably not as it's not constructive. Okay, so another thing I want to talk about today And you guys are more than welcome to come up. I've put a link up. You guys can come and join the panel if you want to talk, or if you have any ideas or anything, you're more than welcome to say whatever you want. So this is a question I have for everybody. I posted this on Facebook and I got like no response out of it. So I was hoping maybe I'd get more of a response out of this crowd. Why do we tell each other I love you? Why do we do that? What's the point in that? Are we such insecure beings that we have to have this told to us in order to know that someone cares about our feelings? FTP is here. Welcome.
What's up?
Hey, welcome to Freaky Friday's feeling panel.
All right. Lots of feelings going on in Denver, Chicago, everywhere.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have a lot of feelings that they need to talk about, probably.
They'd
And
probably be on your panel rather than out in the streets, right?
well, everyone, we were just talking about coping with stress, and everyone deals with stress differently. Maybe their coping skills are going out and doing activities with other people that align with, whatever they're wanting to do. Um, Sometimes, even if it's not constructive, even if it's a destructive thing, people will use things like that as coping skills, unfortunately. And that's one of the things I want to talk about today is some constructive ways, some good coping skills that people can use to deal with stress.
I think they should just be saying goose fraba.
Deep breathing is very important. I was just talking about that. So I don't know if you go out, if you work or anything, but most people, they have a 9 to 5 or something. And when you're at work, when you're dealing with stress and you can't take a break and you can't go outside and take a breath, what do you do in that situation? Because that's one of the things that I need to work on. I need to build coping skills for workplaces that are very stressful because I feel like I'm going to be going into that type of thing.
I would say don't go to work. I think that other people are starting to agree with me after months or years of working. They're seeing that the stress and the stress that causes seizures and the behind the computer can cause seizures and just the stress in general of taking calls and talking to people. So if you knew that what you were doing was costing you your health, would you continue to do it for $1 in your bank account?
Sometimes you have to feed your family. When you come from a very poor background, sometimes you don't have a choice. I have lived that life, and I'm being forced once again into going into doing something that I don't know if I can handle or not.
Can I ask you what what that is?
I have to find some sort of job. I've been a crafter for at least a third of my life. Going on 2/3 of my life, I've been a crafter. I stay at home, I make things, I sell things. It's easier than going to work at like McDonald's and getting yelled at because I'm not as fast as the 16-year-old over there. Um, I'm 36 years old. It's hard for me to find a job at my age, especially given my work history. So I am going to take whatever job will hire me. And that's going to be possibly housekeeping. And I'll be working under the table and under minimum wage, which is highly stressful. Um, that's one of the jobs. You don't have to think a whole lot about it, but it's very physically demanding. So that's one job. And if it's poorly managed, like the places I worked for last year, that's very stressful. Because then you have people running around doing nothing and you're doing all the work and it all has to be done before people get to leave. Hi,
Here,
Chris. Welcome. So workplace stress is something that I really I want to focus on that as much as possible today because I am going to go back into working. I don't know if I'm gonna get a job in retail or if I'm gonna find a job in housekeeping or farming. I'm not sure, but I know that my tie dyes aren't cutting it. I just took them all to Eureka Springs today and basically gave them away so that I could have a buck in my pocket. So, and I have been working hard on them. And
here's what I would say to you. Cleaning is great money. It will pay probably better than most jobs. Uh,
Not, no, it
cleaning,
won't. Not
yeah,
here. Not here. No, last year I was making $8 an hour, and they were hiring people on at $10 an hour,
yeah.
expecting me to train them. They would stay one day and they would be gone, and I would still be stuck with 76 rooms all to myself, plus all the laundry. That's
Okay, you're not.
not something I want to repeat this year.
Okay, okay, hold on. Let me suggest this to you. You go into business for yourself. You start your own business, your own company, your own car, and you take the phone calls, which means, yes, you're putting in more hours. But I'm going to tell you something, word of mouth does spread. Don't do hotels, do cleaning, as in residential. If you stick
And
to residential, you can make up to $160 a job. I'm
yeah, my
sorry,
aunt used to do that.
130.
But you have to have a vehicle, and that is something that I do not have.
So what kind of a vehicle when
I
we
don't
talk?
have a vehicle, period. You have to have some sort of vehicle in order
Do
to
you
go
have a
out.
driver's license?
I have a driver's license, yes.
Okay, you're just after a vehicle. So a Craigslist beater,
Gotta
you know
have the
what?
money.
You don't. You need to know how to negotiate. The art
I
of the
do not.
negotiation deal is what you need to learn. And
I
learning
know how
how
to
to get a
negotiate.
cheap car off of a farm property, or someone that doesn't want it in a complex where they can't have it around, they have to get rid of it, so they post it for $500. You come by and you tell them, I'll give you $300 for it, and you drive off with the vehicle because
Right, been there, done that. Just
they
can't do it right now. Don't have it.
listen. I bought vehicles for 100 to $200. It does happen. Don't close your mind to something. Just when it comes up, auctions, auto auctions, uh, Jim and Ron's, Eastgate, all those crazy places that they sell off their cars once a year. Get into those, and eventually you're going to see a couple $200-300 cars. It's going to take you some time and hours at the auction listening to them, but maybe you can
Right.
get a couple bids in there and take a car home. And you
Right
just
now, though, right now though, that's not an option for me because I don't have the step. I don't have the beginning part of that. I don't have. I need to get out and get a job that I can walk to for now in order to save money in order to do anything else. I am to a point where I cannot. I can't make enough to do any good with anything other than just to eat and drink. That's about it right now. So right now, what I have to do is find a job close by that I can walk to, which is probably going to be retail, which is going to be stressful for me because I have social anxiety. So that's why I want to get more into the people who have that that work at stressful jobs, that don't have a choice but to keep working at those stressful jobs. What do they do to cope with the stress of those jobs? That's what I need to know
they
because I
don't
need to apply that to my life.
they don't and they go postal, dude. These people on the military naval bases, the people that work 80 hours a week. Look, I used to lift 80-pound forms and chuck them like they were rag dolls for many, many years. And you know what? It burned me out. I would tell you, don't ever work in an industry that's just going to burn you out and spit you out the other side. The turnover rate is so high that you don't stand a chance. A little while back, let's say you're doing a call center job, but all you take is mean and rude people's calls all day long. What does that do to your psyche and your sense of
I
feel?
have done that before, and it's for me, it's different for everyone, but for me, it was easy because they were on the other end of a phone, and I don't have to deal with them at the end of the day or anything like that.
You could go back to doing something like that, like in a bank, Wells Fargo, First Premier, all them crazy places. But
Okay,
I
so
can.
I live in a very small community. There's about 4,000 people in this town. The only thing we have here is Tyson's Chicken Plant, which will not hire me because of my physical disabilities. And then there's Walmart. They'll make exceptions for some people. I'm trying to get my foot in the door there again because I've had my application in there for 6 years, but I have friends now that are just getting into management positions. So they may be able to help me get my foot in the door at Walmart, but that's just a big if. I have better chance at getting a job at Dollar General. Either way, both of those places are the management isn't so great. They're always short staffed. The shelves are never stocked. So it's going to be stressful either job that I find around here.
What
I just want to be
type
able to. I need to be able to hold something long enough to make a life for myself, whether that be a couple of months or be a couple of years or a couple of decades. I need something more sustaining than tie dye.
what makes you stuck where you're at? And honestly, when I first seen you, I looked across the room to my wife and I said, um, I want one of these girls. I was like, would you want a tie-dye shirt? And I'm like, and I was thinking, I kind of want a FTP shirt. Come in.
Excuse me, we are out of milk.
I feel like you're BSing me.
No, literally, we are. I'm trying to make a coffee thing and it's brown milk.
Do you have a driver's license, right?
I don't know how to get there.
You drive down Kiwanis and
Okay, look, I don't know how to get there.
okay, you could walk.
I don't know how to.
You could walk up to the food and fuel.
Dude, what did you do?
Judy says, I remind myself why I'm working, where I'm when I'm not appreciated, and I do my best to focus on the goal. That's very good. That's a very good coping skill, reminding yourself why you're there. So gentle reminders of, keeping your eyes on the prize, I guess. I'm writing this down. I'm writing everything down these days. Chris says, I've done things from delivering newspaper, washing pots, cooking, being a chef, manager. I have always just put my head into doing the best job I can and kept myself constantly busy.
I think if you do something that you love to do, I think you're doing the right thing. If you love to do tie-dye and that is what your heart is set on, then you should just do it.
I don't make enough. No matter how hard I try, I cannot produce enough fast enough to sell enough fast enough to make I can't even make a profit from it. I'm almost to where I'm breaking even on what I spent getting into it. And this was back in 2011.
How much are you charging per shirt? Because I can.
It depends. Not all shirts are created equally, so I can't have the same set price for every single one. That also hurts me. But some things take a lot longer to make than others, and some take more dye than others. My range on a t-shirt is anywhere from $25 to $55. But I don't do a whole lot of t-shirts. I do a lot of miniature tapestries because they're easier for me and they're more vibrant than shirts are.
Look, even when I sold my 4, 5, 6 shirts, every shirt had to be $30.
And that's how they sell. And that's why I hurt myself a lot because I get desperate. I get to where I need things like soap and toilet paper and toothpaste and stuff like that. And I get desperate and I take all my stuff down to the next town where it's a tourist town, Eureka Springs. And I sell all my stuff so dirt cheap that I can't make any money off of it, but at least I have something in my pocket.
You would be better selling it online. Why?
I try selling it online, sweetheart. I did an auction last night. I sold one tie-dye. It's not a necessity. It is an art. It is something that some people appreciate and sometimes they want it, but whenever I need to sell it, they don't have the funds. So
I know I don't buy a lot of shirts. I need a lot of shirts, and the price of shirts are outrageous.
And I have some of the most affordable tie-dyes, but that doesn't make a difference. I have a lot of competition, even in the town that I just sold all my tie-dyes to. The reason why I do miniature tapestries is because everybody else was doing shirts, and for years I was unable to sell shirts in Eureka because everybody else was doing shirts. I started doing these miniature tapestries, which could be used for a whole bunch of different things. People use them for do-rags. People use them for baby diapers. People use them to decorate their walls. They use them for all kinds of things. You can even make some kind of like a little shirt for a skinny girl out of them. But I cannot make enough profit off these things because I feel bad because most of my customers are people that are on a fixed income or have no income, and they just really appreciate the art. So, and no aging gray, I know about the mask. You know how many people are making masks and are unable to sell them because there's too many people making masks. The mask is not something I can get into. I don't have a sewing machine. I'm not good at sewing. That's just not something I can get into. I have to do what I'm good at, or I have to work for someone else. That's what it boils down to. And I am to a point where, yes, there's a car sitting out in the driveway, but it does not have tags or insurance. So I can't use it. I have to walk everywhere, and
You're
everything
behind.
around here
But
is
I'm going to tell you
far.
this. There's come a time, and I hate to say this, we can't keep holding ourselves back. I used to think it mattered whether I had insurance or not. And I used to think that I had to always conform to the law. And I've lived my entire life paying into a system that is now going to go pay for riots, essentially, and police and cops. And I don't know where my money went, but I know that what I paid into is going to get torn down here on Sunday. So, and if it doesn't get torn down, then I guess I'm happy too. There's this slight percentage that, hey, these guys around here don't do that kind of stuff. I don't care one way or the other, and I could care less whether it gets burned down to the ground because I'd like to start over fresh. And I think the fact they're putting all our money into the jails and the whatever, that just pisses me off even more. Meanwhile, we're struggling for a decent running car. I wouldn't say that I don't have a decent. I'm just saying there's people out there trying to work as hard as they can, and they just throw them in jail. To stay positive and think positive, I have to say, if you have a car available, you get in that car, you grab some plates from another vehicle, and you drive. And that's
What
just
other
how it has
vehicle?
to be.
What other vehicle?
The next door neighbor's vehicle plates.
So you're suggesting I steal the neighbor's plates? I'm already in enough trouble. I'm good.
We're all in trouble, but we are all in trouble without helping ourselves even more so. So if you told my brother not to go through the state of South Dakota because he could get busted, but there's a load that pays $2,200. He took the chance and went through South Dakota, and now he's sitting in a Hot Springs jail. Now, guess who's got to bail him out, and guess who had to go get his truck? Me. And guess who had to pay the money to go get his truck? $460, which I come up with $350, and then I got sent. I took $200 off a card, and that was the money. And then there was some extra sitting there that I think I still had when I got back. Plus, there was more money on the card for gas to fill it up all the way to Dickinson, North Dakota, and then Fargo, and then to get back to Sioux Falls. If anything would have went wrong, though, I would have been left hanging. I don't know what that translates to. I can tell you that there was a lot of mumbo jumbo trying to get a truck out of the impound yard that's not in really anyone's name. It's in a company's name. Police usually don't want to release anything. And also, why would you charge $460 for a tow? And yeah, I understand when you choose to drive and you make sure all your lights and your tail lights and your headlights and all that stuff work. That's all you can do. Make sure the vehicle
expired, meaning the number is wrong. And here we live in a small town. The cops are bored and they will pull me over for just that. That's why I must walk. I must find a place within walking distance because I have something that I didn't have last year. I have a roof over my head. I'm going to give you
the answer right here. Did you know if you sell a vehicle, you have 30 days to plate, tag, and insure that vehicle?
It's different from state to state, but that's true here. But this vehicle is already, it was bought 3 months ago or 4 months ago. It sat here for 2 months because it didn't run. It finally started running again. We got it running again, kind of, but it still has not been, it is not even, it doesn't have any insurance. It's not been put in my mother's name. It's her car, not mine. It's not been put in her name, and she does not have the money for it. And there's a possibility that we won't even have this house come the 3rd.
Well, I would say the necessity of needing that car regardless is huge on you guys. And you have to remember keeping it running, going out and starting it once or twice a week is vital. Running cars is vital. And whatever's wrong with it, if you had a check engine light or a AutoZone by you or a Advanced Auto Parts, they can check the check engine lights for free, and you can pull a code, and then you can go into.
My mother used her stimulus check to put it in the shop, and it took the whole stimulus check to fix it.
Wow.
There was several electrical things wrong with it. Nothing that either of us could do ourselves by watching a YouTube video, which is what I usually do to fix cars. I've never put a car in a shop before.
Electrical meaning fuses?
No, there were wiring issues. There were a lot of wires that were messed up. Some were frayed. Some were dry rotted. It's an old car.
Wow. How old? Say a year.
It's 90 something, and it's a Ford Focus. A Ford Focus.
Oh yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry, man.
This is we're working with what we have. We're trying to sell her fifth wheel. That way she can get a decent car and have the money left over to get it legal at the same time. But we haven't had any bites on it.
What do you got for a fifth wheel?
She has a 32, I think it's a 2000 model fifth wheel. She's selling it. She's asking for four grand on it. She paid over 10 grand, but she's a smoker, so that took some of the value down.
When you say fifth wheel, it's like a camper though, right?
Yeah, but one that you have to have a special thing to pull it with. You can't just pull, back into it with a pickup and pull
Oh,
it.
you're talking about a trailer. So a dually would work just fine. That's what I just pulled up with.
You gotta have the fifth wheel puller though. It has to have a thing in the bed of your truck in order to pull it.
Like this. Hold on. No, I know what you're talking about because I just got done pulling.
You're correct, Denise. Going to jail will not help me because there will be nobody to get me out. No one will even know that I'm there.
I'll show you a nice little rig that
I'm not trying to get in any more trouble. I'm just trying to live. I'm trying to survive. And right now, everyone's trying to find a job. So it's really fucking hard on top of everything else.
Side real quick.
Oh. I have a video actually on my channel of the entire fifth wheel.
No, I'm coming right back. All right, hold on. I'm here. Oh, they are coming back. They did go get milk themselves at the store. I'm so glad.
Maybe yay!
Self-sufficient. We're raising self-sufficient kids here. Oh, and then they got to act like hooligans.
Of course.
Either that or it was to make sure I knew they were pulling in the driveway.
So I know there's a light at the end of this tunnel. I've not given up, obviously, because I'm still talking about it and still trying to find solutions.
So here's the fifth wheel.
I'm just living between a rock and a hard place.
How do I turn my camera around? Can someone tell me that?
I don't know if you can in StreamYards. You may just have to show it in the background.
Are you... Cam and
no,
Mike.
Agent Gray, Auto did not get me jammed up. I'm in the same position, maybe a little better position than I was when he met me. At least I have a roof over my head now. As before, I couldn't live with her.
Now are you talking about this?
I'm gonna guess that's about the same thing. I have no idea, because I've never pulled a fifth wheel before. But I know that it's got to be the same thing. It's in the bed of your truck, right?
Yeah, it's in the bed of the truck, a dually.
Yeah, so it should be the same thing because that's how they pull the fifth wheel.
What? It's a 2000 though, like a camper.
Yeah, I think it's a 2000. Let me go double check with her, make sure on that year. I'll be right back. Yes, sir. It's a 2000. And there is a full video on it on my channel if anyone's interested in looking at it. It would have to be picked up, though. There's no way we could deliver it. We can't even move it back where we need to.
You down in Texas?
No, we're in Arkansas. We're in Northwest Arkansas.
How far? Where's that at now? Northwest Arkansas. Is that? No, that's not. I don't know, because he said he was going to take, what is it? Wisconsin, Minneapolis, Wisconsin. I don't know if he said something about Chicago, but I don't know. He jumps all over the place. Not to say anything about where he's going. I have no idea.
What are you talking about?
Well, he goes all over. He picks up different loads and
You talking about
stuff.
your friend or your family?
Yeah, my brother.
Oh, your brother.
does.
Okay.
He does a lot. Travels across the country, so that's how he got hemmed up in Hot Springs. But I might be stuck with this truck for longer than I'd like. It's been sitting outside doing nothing, and it ain't making me no money just sitting there.
You said Hot
So-
Springs? Hot Springs is about 4 hours from where I am.
You talk about Hot Springs, Arkansas, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in Hot Springs, South Dakota, is where my brother's in jail at.
Oh, okay.
But if you don't get stuck there I got to come up with 4250 to get him out, and then we'll be okay there. Once I bail him, but that's 4250 lost and gone. He needs that truck to be running, picking up more loads. Usually he just runs loads like a hot shot driver. He just runs loads from point A to point B, but I had to drop off.
I'm sorry, hold on one second. Miss Denise is asking about Nova. Nova, come here. Come here, Betty. Someone wants to say hi. Come here. Come see me. Right here. Hers is okay. See, hers okay. She gets sad when I'm gone all day, but she's okay.
But it's in pretty good condition, or it's a smoker, huh?
Yeah, she's smoked in it, and it needs a little bit of work. It has some, I think, a pipe busted or something in it. Plumbing something. I don't know. I'm not good with that stuff. I just know that it needs probably a little bit of work on it. But like I said, she spent over 10 grand on it. She lived in it for a couple of years. And so I think its value is probably around 4 grand. It'd be more than that if it didn't need work on it. Because it's a decent trailer. I mean, it has a full bathroom. You can like get down in the tub. It has a tub in it. Like I could get down in the tub and shave my legs. So, I mean, and I'm a pretty big girl. So.
Does it have a slide out or anything?
It has a slide out. The slide out is the living room and the dining area. So it's a big slide out.
And all that works?
And the bedroom is separate. Like there's a like a wooden door, and then there's another door. So there's like 2 barriers to the bedroom, and it's got a queen size bed in the bedroom. The couch folds out to a hide bed, and the dining area turns into another bed. Has a full fridge, stove and oven. The microwave is gone. It's going to need a propane bottle. One of the tweakers, I guess, took off with it.
Does it have an AC on the top of it?
Does have an AC. The AC worked good last we used it.
Yeah, doesn't sound too bad. It just, again, I try and get stuff as cheap as I can. That's just who I am and what I am.
That's how most people are.
But when he's zigzagging across, I can't say that he's never going to want another fifth wheel or a trailer, or I don't know if he'd ever be in the market. I know his level of income's a little bit different than mine, and I know he's willing to take on stuff like that. And I know he's got 2, 3, 4 trucks that all have fifth wheels on them that he could easily pull a fifth wheel with. So
Hi, Grateful Gal. I don't know if Blue Eyes is in here or not today, but I did get your package shipped today, and I do have your tracking. I just don't know exactly where to send it to. Okay, I want to get back on topic. We were talking about workplace stress and how to cope, like coping skills. One person mentioned reminding yourself, of your goal and what you're there for. That's very important. If you're unable to step away and take a breather, what else can you do? What else can you do? Some places, I don't know if they allow you to hum or sing or tap your foot, or I'm not really exactly sure. But what do you guys do at work for stress? It may be possible that I might be going to work at Butterball, which is a turkey processing plant. Highly stressful. It's like you're working in a cold dungeon all day and you're unable to talk to anybody because no one can hear you over the sound of the machines in the background with your earplugs in and everything. So that's going to be another, plus a lot of the times, like when I worked cleanup for Tyson's before, and my trainer spoke only Spanish, and I don't know Spanish. And we had a very hard time with her telling me how to do stuff because she's trying to explain it to me in Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish. So that's another workplace stress. I almost wanted to give up with that. When I did that job, I wanted to give up because I couldn't understand. After almost 2 months of putting up with it, they moved me somewhere where I could kind of understand what was going on because I was having a hard time learning because I couldn't understand. Who's coming up?
me.
Echo.
Not anymore. I shut the other one off. I wanted to be on my computer, which it's a little bit different look, but I didn't want to hold the phone anymore. If that sounds like a lazy thing to say, I just didn't want to.
I'm not holding mine. I have mine propped up. I don't want to hold it.
Exactly.
My video ends up too shaky when I do that. So I have another thing I wanted to talk about. And this is something that in Desert Goat, I know you said you didn't see it on Facebook. I know I shared it yesterday or the day before, but there's a big thing about it, and then I wrote something on the top of it. I'm not going to read what it said. I'm just going to read what I put. So I said, why do we tell each other I love you? My dog doesn't tell me she loves me. She just does it. And that's how I know. She appreciates me, enjoys my company, misses me when I'm gone. She comforts me when I'm down. She shares my joy when I'm happy. No words needed. So why do we say it to each other?
To fool each other.
Huh?
Why is love hate? What if I told you love was hate? Why does it just always have to end totally horrible?
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it does. But sometimes it does, but I don't think it always does. But the point is, why do we say those words to each other? If because love is a verb. It's an action. It's something you do. It's not just a feeling. It is loving someone is making sure they make it to an appointment on time, supporting their goals and dreams. Love is holding the door open for an old lady. You don't have to know her to be loving towards her. Love is making sure that your kids are fed and watered without them having to ask for it. That would just be loving them. So care is a form of love. We do things every day to show how much we love someone. So why do we have to say it? Because most of the time when people say it, they don't mean it.
I'll tell you this, you just make a phone call and I'm there. You don't have to say, I love you. You don't have to ask, can you? Or you don't have to say it. You don't even have to say I love you after the call ends. You just get in your car and go. There is no questions asked.
I show my friends I love them by cleaning their houses or by watching their kids or helping them move, or I show my mom that I love her by trying to keep her house clean and making her dinner even if she's not hungry. Letting the dogs out, her dogs out without having to be asked, just doing things that I know. And also, like, if I go to the store and she wants me to get her something to drink or something, I think of her and I get her like she really likes sweets, so I get her a candy bar or something because I'm thinking about her, not because she asked me to, but because I'm thinking about her and I know that she likes that. So that's I think that's another action. Here's another thing I want to throw out there. I want to ask people for advice on. But to me, this is my therapy. This isn't just your therapy. This is my therapy. So, and I don't know if I've told you the reason why I started this Freaky Friday Feelings panel. It's because I was in online therapy and my 30-day trial ended, and I could not afford $45 a week for counseling. I don't even make that. So I figured that I would start that here. I mean, I get the same thing talking to my friends or even strangers as I do going to a therapist. Because as soon as my 30 days was over, they were going to send me to another person where I have to start all over. So what's the point? Why not just continue having conversations with people that kind of have, they know a little bit about me at least,
I only charge $90 an hour. So that's all I'm ever going to charge you, all right?
That's my panel. So
what I tell people is, okay, $90 an hour, and what do I say? Put the check in the mail. Make sure you're mailing me the check, or I'll come collect it. But that's just between me and my buddy. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I charge $90 an hour, but we joke around. It's good therapy. To go visit with your friends, and you can kind of talk about whatever you want to talk about. Judgment free.
So that's kind of why I'm here. I don't care if there's judgment. There's things that I have to get off my mind and off my chest, and I'm sure there's other people that feel the same. And I figured that I would create at least an hour every Friday for people to just get on here and talk about what they feel, because a lot of people are not in touch with their feelings. They shove them down deep, and then, like you said, later on they go insane. They can't handle it anymore because they haven't done anything.
Yeah.
They haven't done anything to try to cope with that shit as it arises. So
no, if you would have just said what was on your mind at the time and would have just told the guy off, but the respect level is that you leave my chat area after you've pissed me off, and that's just how it works. I don't come in and disrespect you, and you don't come in and disrespect me, and we try and not trigger each other.
Yeah, that helps too. However, I've noticed that there's an abnormal amount of people who enjoy triggering other people, and that's sad, but it's true. So we have to learn how to deal with those triggers, because unfortunately we can't control what other people do. We can only control our reaction to it. So if someone were to, for example, stress you out like that at a workplace, you can't just tell them off.
I just quit my job and leave and don't come back. Sorry. Is that not the proper way to deal with that?
Most people can't afford to just quit. So they have to somehow, come up with a way to compromise and get over the issue, whatever it is, talk about it to get past it. And a lot of people quit jobs because they can't communicate with their supervisor or their manager. And that's one thing I've never had a problem with. I can communicate with my manager, but if what I'm saying is in one ear and out the next, then I'm out the door. Because if we can't communicate and solve the problem, then there's no reason for me to stay.
Bro, my communicator never made any sense anyways. When he did talk, he just barked the orders and yelled so fast and so loud that you didn't know what he wanted, you didn't know what he expected of you, and you can't possibly do what he told you to do because he didn't tell you where to grab whatever. He just, go get this. Where is it, bro? Am I just going to look for this imaginary thing for an hour? I don't know. But, you know, I deal with hotheads. I deal with people that poke people as they're trying to work. You know, it's crazy, dude. He just come up and start yelling at you for no reason. You're like, what now? You want to yell about the truck or that I'm in the truck? You want to yell about that I'm out pounding in a steak? You want that I'm setting a form? It's not good enough for you. It's not fast enough for you. But where the fuck is my bonus? You don't want to talk about that, do you? So it's all really one-sided in a workplace environment, and that's when it gets.
But I don't think all employers are that way. I mean, we have Chris Powers in the chat, and he's a boss, and I don't think he's that hard to communicate with. I think his employees probably can communicate with him pretty well. Desert Goat said something about sparring for stress. That's how I handle some sparring. That's cool. And Chris Powers says that his wife does kickboxing for stress and works out. However, are you going to kickbox your fellow coworker whenever they knock over this thing you've been working on for the last 4 hours and you have to start all over? Are you going to kickbox them?
I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot of stuff come across the roof. When I was doing roofing, I seen a hammer been thrown across the room, across the roof at me. What else? Oh, shoot. The hammer was the most, wow. I really thought that dude really lost it. I was like, you must be out of your damn mind to throw a hammer across a roof. I was like, did I really piss you off that much by asking you why the fuck we got such small screws and they have to go down 2 feet? Crazy.
Grateful Gal, I'm sorry. Grateful Gal said, I thought this was about saying I love you. That was part of what I was talking about, you know, why we tell each other that I love you when we can show it. You know, there's no need. Our animals don't tell us that we love them, or that our animals don't tell us that they love us. They just show it by enjoying our company and delighting in our joy and comforting us when we're sad. They can sense those kind of things, and they come up and nudge us and, hey, are you still okay? So how come we can't do that? How come we can't, person to person, we can't just do that? We can't just
I can't love anybody else.
Why can't we be more like dogs?
I can't love anybody else because I wasn't loved as a child.
That's a poor excuse.
That's a poor excuse.
I wasn't loved as a child. I was never adopted. I grew up in foster care. But I still believe in love, and I still have it. And I give it freely. Even as people are stabbing me in the back, I am still holding and hugging someone else who's in pain.
But admit that you do have a wall up.
Oh, of course. We all have some
walls.
sort of wall.
You won't let people get super close. There's things that
I can't say that. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I've tried to get close to people and they push me away. So it's the other way. I'm always looking for a connection. And that's not always met evenly.
No. That love. Well, you can't force your love on someone else, and someone else can't force your love on, and to find equal to where it just meshes and it's just easy. It just doesn't happen. It's like being a best friend. It's like having a best friend that it never gets old.
I know people who are married who have that. That's how I know that it exists, that it is possible. It just hasn't happened for me, and that's fine, because it may still happen. And then again, maybe it has happened for me, and maybe I just missed it. A lot of us have a hard time focusing. There's so much negative that happens in our life. Humans naturally remember the negative more than the positive. And I try really hard to remember the positive points, to remember the good times, to remember, what, instead of what tore us apart, what brought us together. That's more important to me, that connection. And I feel like I'm just rambling now, but we're talking about why do we tell each other I love you? And we're also talking about workplace stress coping skills. So
My
any
job is to
husband-
sit here and listen to you.
Well, the thing is, we deal with relationships every single day of our life, whether it be our family members, whether it be our workplace people, and people are going to do things that we don't like. People are always going to do stuff we don't like. How do we handle that? For example, the one bitch I have had about living with my mother. We have a tiny bathroom. I have to go through her bedroom to get to it. It is tiny. There is no ventilation whatsoever. There's no fan. There's no sucker. There's no way to get the cigarette smoke out of that little tiny room fast enough for the next person to go in there to use the bathroom. I am allergic to cigarette smoke. I go in the bathroom after her. I don't care if it's an hour later. She's had the door shut. She smoked a cigarette in there. I can't breathe. I know everyone's getting sick of hearing that, but
Nope, I love that saying. I can't breathe.
It's inconsiderate to me. And I have asked, I've said, this is a problem for me. Could you please not do this? She made a promise that she wouldn't do it, and she did it again. And I knew she would.
So the I'm sorry fell a little short.
I'm sorry, and I promise never to do it again fell short. But that's been our relationship since I was a little girl. She said, I'm sorry that hurt you. I won't do it again. It happened again. And this has been a pattern.
Hey, just know this. People that love you will do many things to hurt you. Now, here's what I've learned. And take this as how you want it. When you grow up and you finally say, enough is enough, I'm done with you, because you treat me like this, you don't value what I say, and you don't actually love me. Therefore, you are actually doing more harm, and you're hurting me more, and you will not respect me. So you have basically now I've just no respect either. So focus on that and say, you don't love me, and you don't care about me, and I'm leaving. I'm going to I'm going to do better for myself. This is where you will excel, by actually pushing that person out of your life. You will excel. You know why? Because how worse can it really get? If you have it built up in your mind, I'm not accepting this, and you just leave. One day you leave, you plan.
I've left before because of unkept promises, but they were more like because my stepdad moved back in and I can't reside with him. This is a small thing. So this is one of those things a family member does. I live under her roof. This is her house. I do not pay rent here. So I can express my feelings, things that I don't like, and hope that she will compromise with me. But if she doesn't, still, this is her house, and I'm welcome to leave anytime I'd like. I just don't have anywhere to go. And I also don't want to leave her alone. Even if I had somewhere to go, I don't want to leave her alone. She has reached the point in her life she is disabled. She spends the majority of her time in bed medicated. She does not hardly eat unless you make her. What she does eat is mostly junk. And she's extremely depressed. A lot of people in my family have committed suicide. I do not want her to be another.
That burden you? Do you wear that burden then? Because you're taking care of someone else when you shouldn't, or don't have to, or don't have the capacity to. And in all reality, somebody should be loving and taking care of you, and you should be sharing 50-50 of the happiness, the wealth, the sadness. Can you imagine where someone isn't draining you dry of all of your feelings, emotions, and everything they want out of you and expect out of you, and they can't just tell you what to do, and you'll go and do it, and you'll go and cook it, and you'll go and you have to understand at what level, what are you losing? How many years are you losing off your life, and how many do you think you have before the love of your life is just, you never meet up with it, and you never got out to experience it, and you never realized what potential you had, even with your disabilities, even with what is going on with you.
My mother is all I have. She's the only one left in my family.
When someone is toxic for you, when someone doesn't, there comes a point. There will be that point, that breaking point. It may not happen for a long time, but when it happens, you'll know it. And when I did
I
it,
don't think I have. I don't think she has many more years either. And I'm really trying to have that connection with her that I didn't have growing up. I grew up in foster care, so I didn't get to be around my mom until I was 16, 17. And it's been rocky ever since. And I've been trying to build a relationship with her, but I know we both have problems. And that's why I've been in therapy for so long, trying to heal my childhood trauma, and trying to establish a relationship with her now. We've gone years without speaking. I'm 36 years old. In the last 20 years, we have gone years without speaking to each other, where I didn't even know where she was living at the time. My little brother's death caused us to start talking again. And since then, I have tried to be as close as I can because I'm the only one of her children she has left. She has nobody else, and neither do I. So we need each other. But we have a hard time coexisting because there are little things that bother me, like her smoking in the bathroom when she has the entire house or outside to smoke in. And the thing is, we had an agreement. We had come to an agreement. I told her it bothered me. She said, okay, I'll compromise. I won't do it anymore. I promise. And she did it again. The same thing Mr. Otto did to me.
you have to, before you brought that name up, you have to hold her accountable. I didn't want you to. You have to hold her accountable. When you said that and she did that, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to get your needs met too. You can't just let her trample all over yours.
I also
I
have to
remember-
respect her house.
That is
I
not
do not
respect.
pay any
What
bills
was
here.
that respect for your lungs though? A smoker smoking around you, they can't do it at restaurants. They're not supposed to. In their designated public areas, a lot of us don't want to smell the secondhand smoke. I'm not a smoker either, so
And it's not that the smell of it, the odor of it is bothering me. It's the actual smoke itself. If someone was smoking a turkey or something, I can't be around it. I can't be around campfires and stuff too close because the smoke itself bothers me. It makes me start drowning in my own mucus. My body reproduces too much.
you hear what M Star just put? She put, "Don't disrespect yourself for others' needs." That's
Hold
a
on,
great.
what I thought. Yes. Okay. No. No. Okay. Well, Tony's supposed to come too sometime. Okay. Okay. Company coming over that I can't stand. That's okay.
But that's okay. I give a little more until I have nothing left. But anyways,
I stay in my bedroom.
I'm. Did
This is
did
why
you see?
This
Did you?
is why I usually pack a backpack and I take my hammock and I go out to the woods and I don't come back.
I
This is
know.
usually why I do this.
Depression is the worst possible thing you can suffer from, and not wanting to be around people and not being social. People just don't get it. They don't understand it. It's different. They don't understand why you wouldn't want to be around them. You don't want them in your room. I'm talking about chat room, in life. You would never
I get
hang
it.
out with this person.
I was diagnosed with a major depressive disorder when I was like 8 or 9. And so I've been that's another thing I've been using my coping skills a lot for, but I think over time our coping skills have to change because sometimes they don't work anymore. Sometimes we lose interest in our music or whatever it was that usually helps us. Like I quit writing for a couple of years. I just recently got back into it. But there's been a lot of things that I used as coping skills that like I need to develop new ones because those aren't quite working for me anymore. And I understand the whole depression thing and not wanting to be around everyone, just shut everyone out and go to bed and just block everyone out. But then my body hurts because I've been in bed for too long. So I can't do that either.
What's the
I have
longest you've ever laid in bed?
a couple weeks, but that was a few years ago, and I was medicated. I was going through counseling, and they thought that I needed medications, and I was stuck in bed taking Zoloft and Abilify. I was stuck in bed for 2 weeks. It made it worse. So that's why I don't take stuff anymore.
And just so you know, that medications like, gosh, what was that one? I mean, I was little. They put me on some med that was like, what's that called? Gosh, now I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was something for, I can't even recall. Sure sounds like about the names you just said. Zoloft. I don't know.
Like Xanax.
Not Xanax, and it wasn't like a pain thing. It was for something, whether it was like hyperactive disorder or whatever, or just
Ritalin.
I
Ritalin screwed a lot of people up.
I did take Ritalin for a little while, and then I quit because I didn't like that. And then they tried to. I swear it was like, wow, whatever. I'm not even going to dwell on it. I don't care, but I'm going to tell you this: that one medication did more worse for me than my mind was in so many different places I've never been. It took me to feeling, I can't even say it on here, because you wanted to do things and you wanted, I mean, it was like bad things both ways. Like, and never have I seen that at the same time. And so I knew something wasn't right or was wrong. So the most you can do is let the medication wear off and lay in bed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
literally ride it out. It was crazy.
And after spending 2 weeks in bed, I told my psychiatrist that was not a solution for me, that we needed to have some other kind of solution because there is no magic pill to make this shit go away. And that's something that I've been trying to explain to my mother for years, is that there is no, it's a Band-Aid. But if you don't take the Band-Aid off every now and then, or if you don't take a Band-Aid off eventually and let it get some air, it's never going to heal.
I agree.
When they give you pills, they're only supposed to be for temporary. It's not supposed to be a long-term fix for anything they give you, whether it be for pain or whether it be for
right. I'm trying to think why I was even put on in the first place, but it was bad. The worst thing I had ever taken in my life, by far. And if you talk about a little bit of marijuana use, no, this didn't compare to that. And marijuana just chills you out, you know what I'm saying? And that actually had a way better effect and felt way better. And you get to this crap and it just, I don't know. I mean, these meds are not good. I don't care what anybody says. And the people that take them usually end up, I would think, worse.
They all have long-term side effects too. Every single one of them.
Could be growing man breasts. Could be a lot of stuff, right?
Yep. Hold on one second. Here's your keys. Sorry.
I'm going to tell you this, and I don't know if this will help you at all. My job is to accept you for the way you are. If you're depressed, my job is not ever to try and change you or your thought process or say or do anything that coerce you into thinking the way I want you to think, or stick you in a position that is then going to make you more depressed. And oh shoot, we can talk to the jail. What? She ended it. Hey, hold on. I'm going to mute myself out here.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to read some of the chat because I have missed quite a bit, and I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to ignore anyone. I get what you're saying. I do. Hi, Blue Eyes. You made it. I sent your package today. I didn't know where to send your tracking information to, but it should be there Tuesday. I went and sold the rest of my tie-dyes today, hella cheap in Eureka, just so I would have something in my pocket. So I understand what you're saying as far as not disrespecting myself or whatever. And I appreciate that. If I had options, things would probably be different. But this was this was the hand I've been dealt. So this is what I'm trying to work with. Okay, unsuppressed. What did I miss? Learning to let go is the hardest. Yes, letting go is a hard thing to do. And I don't think letting go is my problem here. Because I've let go of.
Oh, she got dropped in the wrong panel. Just me. Where did she go?
Sorry about that. I hit the wrong button.
Oh, your own panel.
Hit the wrong button. Anyway, so I've done a lot of letting go in my life. I know you guys don't all know me very well, but when I was 23 or 24, I gave up all 4 of my kids for adoption because I was tired of dragging them through the mud with me, always struggling to keep a roof over our heads and always fighting with my first husband over them as if they were pawns. Like he would sneak in the middle of the night and just take them from me. And there were physical altercations between him and I in front of them, and I didn't want them to grow up living the life that I lived. I wanted them to have better. So when someone gave me the opportunity to let them all go to the same family, which is hard to do when you have 4, but to let them all go to the same well-to-do family who were Christians, they were in the church every time the doors were open, and I'm not religious, but that's supposed to be a good thing for adoptive parents. That's one of the things on the list is if they're religious and if they participate in activities, if they're social, if they they do all these things, they don't have to pass a psychological evaluation, which I think is stupid, but they did meet my checklist for a lot of other things, so I decided to go ahead and give up my rights to them. And they're all, the youngest is almost 15. The other ones are adults. Both my daughters understand and have come around. My sons and I are still working on our issues. My 15-year-old I haven't got to talk to yet or meet. He's not 18 yet, but and I haven't seen him since he was just over a year. Yes, that's hard. Yes, I deal with that. That is a choice that I make. But I have learned to not punish myself for it. I have learned, that if you're trying to preach to me about letting go, I just want you to know that I have learned how to let go, because I feel like I made the unselfish decision I could, because I wanted my kids very desperately. I wanted to raise them, but I obviously could not. I did not have the right parental skills. I was raised by a system that's completely flawed. I was never adopted. I'm not quite sure I know what love is. I want to know.
Look. I
but I thought that my kids would be better off with someone else.
When you say that. I believe you when you tell me you can't love. That makes more sense to me. That you don't know how to show love, or
I know how to show it. I don't know how to accept
I'm not capable of loving.
When people tell me they love me, I don't believe it. That's the problem. I'm not receptive.
Exactly. You couldn't handle it if somebody does. If they could show you all the right signs all the way along, they could never do a single thing to you, and you would never 100% fully trust because nobody ever loved you. And growing up, you don't even know what it feels like. You've never seen it. I guarantee it. Right? You can't like the if you were beat, neglected, not taken care of, abused, how can you get over it? And people can tell you, and first off, it's not, of course, it's not your fault, but at the same time, who am I or anyone else to say, well, just get over it?
It's my fault if I dwell in that.
You don't have a choice. You're so beat down physically, morally, mentally, that there's, you know what? My entire life I had an I can't attitude. And I don't think much has changed. So when I say I can't, that's me selling out. That's me selling short. That's me not wanting to take on the responsibility because you have your own triggers. You have your own feelings.
I don't want to say I can't. I'm just very challenged right now. There's a lot of things holding me back.
Can we call it inadequacies?
Yeah. Could call it
Things
that.
I would say this, you got to talk about it. You have to stop letting the person that's hurting you. Even that may never work because forgiving.
You can't.
If I haven't figured out
what other people do, you cannot control what other people do. Even if someone is hurting you and you're saying you're hurting me, and they're saying, "Okay, I'm sorry, I don't mean to," and they're continuing to hurt you, you can't make them not hurt you.
I did one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I went between Fargo and Sioux Falls when I did get that truck. And I had a chance to take an exit and say, I called up my wife. I says, I want to go, I think I should go see my dad. And the exit was like 15 miles away. And I knew I didn't have much time. And if I wanted to get off, I had to get off quick. And I thought about it to myself after I got off the phone. She's like, well, I knew you were going to want to do that. And she was up at the hospital, and it's like, so she wasn't really keen to the idea. I got off the phone, and I had a couple minutes maybe to sit and ponder while I was kind of coming up on the exit. And I finally just said, what is it? It's not going to matter if I go visit him. It isn't going to matter what I say to him. The 15 minutes I get to spend with him. Because he's never, if you're never there for somebody, and if you never come visit me and you never have shown me that love, you're not going to do it in that 15. You don't give a shit about me. And why do I keep caring so goddamn much? Why do I keep loving you when you just keep hurting me? Why do I keep spending my thoughts, my mind, my time, my life just can't. You know what I did? I just kept going. I went past the exit. And I for the life of me, something makes you do what you do, and you just decide, I'm not going to steer off the exit. You're just going to keep going because this is the facts. And I'm not going to put my family second to him, who has already done all this shit to me and to fuck up my head. So again, I'm going to choose the right thing instead of tearing myself down again and going through this again by his fucked up mind games. I'm not doing it to myself anymore. That's my choice.
Well, we all know that, and I've said this before, I have a pattern of choosing people to be with romantically that are of a same. They're cut from the same cloth. We'll put it that way. They're all about. They have similarities. They start out very charming and nice, and they're very. They end up being very manipulative, and they disregard my feelings. That stems from, and I had to come home to realize that, but that stems from my relationship with my mother, because she does the same thing. At first, she tells me, you stay here and we'll get along and we can figure it out and we can compromise. But when it comes down to it, we can't. I say we, I'm being nice, but
You can't do it.
I really
You can't
think
make it
that,
work no matter how much you want to. Because it wasn't meant to be. Like, bottom line, it was not meant to be. It just wasn't. And I can BS you all day long, but it ain't gonna make it true. And even if I said that I was I'm the perfect this, that, and the other thing, and I got it all put together, and nope, I'm telling you right now, I could never make it work with living with my dad. And to this day, I could never make it work living with my mom because she tore me down the most.
M-Star said that she has an issue that she has to take care of. M-Star, you're welcome to come up and talk about it if you'd like. And again, I love my mother. I really do. I care about her so much, and I don't want her to be alone.
But don't sell yourself out if that's what's tearing you down, dude. Don't do it. The moral of the story is, it doesn't matter how much you love them. They don't love you the same, and they've already proved that when you were young. When you were younger, then she proved it. She proved it, and the proof is in what she showed you and her actions. Now, how do you come back 20 years later from that and say, I love you? That word, I love you. Just hear me out on that one and just let it soak in. And when it's
because I am a mother who gave up my children, and I do love my children. That's how I can say that. Because I understand that parents make mistakes. I understand sometimes we do the best we can with what we have. And I'm one of those people who I'm forgiving to a fault. I forgive people. I mean, you could literally shoot me with a gun and I will forgive you after I'm healed from it. I forgive you. I may not trust you again, but the forgiveness is there. I no longer hold it over your head that you made a mistake. You're human.
No, I don't know.
When I say I love you, that means I care about your happiness, your health, your well-being.
I can't believe someone would just say that. If you can't, then I'll leave. How about that? If you're not happy with the advice that I have, if I haven't lived it, I don't know what to. I never told you. I never came on here and said once that I was a psychiatrist, right?
No.
Like, I'm not a certified psychiatrist giving.
None of us are. But I don't think that's necessary. I really, that's why I started these panels. I don't think it's necessary to go throw out a bunch of money to someone that you've never met before, or that's not, that really does not, that goes home at night and doesn't have a second thought about you. I don't think that it's necessary to go and throw money at those people. That I know that they're educated and they may be good at guiding. They may be good at some sort of guidance. I've been in therapy for most of my life, though, and I know that what it boils down to is basically talking about your feelings. And as you talk about your feelings and bounce it off another person's head, sometimes you come up with your own solutions. Or sometimes they have something to put in there. And that's to me, that's what counseling is. That's what therapy is. So that's why I started this, for people like me who can't afford the $45 to $100 a week to go talk to a shrink.
Listen to me. If I just sat there and said, okay. And how did that make you feel? And how did that make you feel? Would I be helping you? Or would I just be taking your $45 after the session was over, leaving you with nothing? And
It depends. It depends on if you're legally required to have counseling, because then it's helpful to go to a place that'll sign a thing, or, like if you're in drug counseling or something like that, which I wouldn't know anything about, but I have friends that have done something like that, and they had to go get some sort of signature from some sort of guidance counselor or some shit once a week. But the state paid for it, though. That's the thing.
read Unsub's press latest comment.
Sometimes loving means recognizing that you're not the best for them and that they'd have a better life with somebody else. Yes, that is exactly what I did for my kids, because I knew that if I kept them with me, that we would always financially struggle. They would probably have 0 to no chances of getting into college. They may not have a vehicle by the time they're of age, and working is going to be hard. However, now that they were adopted by other people, because they were adopted, they automatically qualify for help through college. And on top of that, my oldest, she went into the military. So she did really good for herself, because she did that so she could go to college. And now she's able to study. She's doing modeling and art and some other things. I'm not sure exactly what all she's studying, but I know that she's like majoring in art. So I think that there are some shitty things that happened while they were living under the roof of the people that adopted them. But that was, it's not something that could be foreseen. I thought I could save my children from a life of poverty and being molested or whatever I went through. I thought I could save them from a life of that by putting them where I did, and that turned out to be not the case. Denise, I have openly, calmly, emotionally, all sorts of ways had these same conversations, yet dementia or Alzheimer's has been denied. So these things are forgotten by choice, not because she can't control it. I can have a conversation with her, and then tomorrow we never had that conversation. It never happened. So, but her doctor says he gave her 3 questions, and then I guess because of those 3 questions cleared her from the Alzheimer's and the dementia.
So Unsub said something else that was great. What's worse is to suggest that somebody should, I don't know what he meant there, hang OJ to blood because it's blood.
On to blood. Hang on to blood because it's blood.
Hang on to blood because it's blood. Toxic is toxic.
I get that. I understand that. But most people who say that are in a position to, if they wanted to go, they had somewhere to go.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I'm not going to sit there and tell you to go out and be homeless. I'm not going to do that. But
those are my options. Okay, look, I have 3. There's 3 options in life whenever you're unhappy. You can either stay and like it, stay and hate it, or leave. Leaving's not an option. So I either have to stay and hate it or learn how to stay and like it.
What if it opened you up to something great and to somebody that can provide so much more to your feelings and not drag you down and treat you bad? And what if it opened you up?
I've done the no bad thing. I packed a backpack and I took off across the U.S. and I have looked for work in other places to live, and it never turns out for me. That's why I came back. Might as well just deal with what I have here and play the cards that have been dealt to me.
You know what? I get that too, but I will tell you this. You know what? Here's what I never told you too. I went back to Fargo, right? So I told you between Fargo and Sioux Falls that was my dad's house. So Fargo, I used to live there. That's where I grew up. I parked my truck in the middle of a Kmart, a deserted Kmart, and I jumped in the back and I went to bed. It was very difficult to go to bed in that parking lot with the kinds of people that rode by the truck, because I knew the kind of neighborhood that I was in. And deep down, it's still ingrained in me to this day that there was a reason we all left. We all collectively decided no matter where we live in this town, it's shit.
Yeah.
The people, the places, the gang activity, I don't miss any of it. The tagging, the writing, the looks you get, the stares. You're of the minority. You now realize you have entered into a hostile environment where they literally want your stuff because of the truck you're driving or the fact you're sitting in a dark place. So to me, you're really I'm so happy that I left. And when I got back home, I thought, I'm so glad to be in the position that I'm in. It's better than where I came from. So I guess that humbles you a little bit. So if that's the position you're in is a good place, then take it. But if you came from a position where all around you is nothing but violence, leave. Because there's no amount of violence that I'm going to take. Now, if the said person is not violent to you, don't worry about it. If you guys never get violent and
there's no violence here.
Disagreements.
That's the one thing that I can be grateful for, is there is no violence here. My mom and I are not violent people. We both have left violent people, so we understand. That's not for us. So it is pretty peaceful here, for the most part. Like I said, we have our issues. So I'm learning how to stay and like it. I guess that's the choice I'm making. I'm just learning. I just need to learn new coping skills or something. I think work would help, if we're not at the same place at the same time all the time. That helps. That would give me that would give her space, and that would give me socialization, and I'd be making money, which is one of our biggest issues right now, is the lack of. So yeah, the thing is, I have been a runner my whole life. Every time I work and I try and I work and I try and I run myself ragged and I get burnt out, and then I finally am just like fed up and done with it, and I pack a backpack and I leave. And all it does is set me back. All it does is set me back. I never make it whenever I go out there.
What if at the end of the day you can't take it with you anyways? My brother does the same thing. If you run from state to state to state to state, and that's just what you prefer to do, and you're totally different from me, how can I knock it the way that you choose to live your life? And how can I knock that you left something that was very toxic, a toxic town, toxic city, toxic people, and even when me and him got together, toxic. So it's
I think it's going to be better when I come back. And there's a lot of good people here. It's just that the only ones that are really okay. So I have another place to crash on a couch if I want to be kept up all night by a bunch of meth heads.
Yeah, no, that's
not.
Those
are my options. Like,
you have a million options. Think about a million. Think about sitting in a gated community poolside. Think about how good it could really be. Think about, it's all about where you're hanging out at. If I go to a bar, I'm sorry, I shouldn't use a bar ever. Okay, this is gonna, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't even say this. I'm gonna, just because I can. If you went into a bar in the middle of downtown at the ghettoest place you could find, then what are you gonna meet? A bunch of ghetto people usually. If you go to 57th Street or you go up to the bridges at 57th and go hang out in Tinners, what are you going to find? You may still find the same drunk, but you're going to find a different kind of class and a different kind of wallet and a different kind of mannerisms.
You must live in a place where there's a lot of people. There's not really that much diversity here.
Yeah, there's only 4,000 people. You're
And
in.
there's no places to really hang here. I stay at home. If I had a car, I'd go to the river or the lake. Besides that, there's just not. This isn't one of those. This is a old country town. Good night, M Star. Thanks for joining us. I'm actually gonna have to cut this panel off. I was supposed to be done 30 minutes ago. I'm supposed to meet somebody, but I wanted to. I don't like to be rude, and when people are getting into their feelings, I like to let them continue. So
No, I already got my feelings out. I'm good.
well,
Definitely
I
have a
think
good night.
I've pretty much got my feelings out too. I feel defeated because I feel like I had to go and sell everything I had for hella cheap just to have something in my pocket to go look for work. I've reached a point of desperation, and I don't want anyone to just give me anything. I want to work for what I have because
Right.
it helps me appreciate it.
The only thing that I can help you on that front is, can you do a custom tie-dye FTP shirt to where it actually says like FTP all over it, like 100 times the FTP. Which Sunday's the big Sunday. We're having the what do you call that?
I'll be
March.
honest with you and tell you, absolutely not. That's not a possible piece for me to make. However, I did make behind me. I have a couple of glue resist that I did that say FTP on them.
Really? Can I
Yes,
see one real quick?
They're not finished. I have
Not yet,
not
okay.
dyed them yet. I put the pattern on and I let it dry, and now I still have to dye it, let it set, and then rinse it. So that'll be next week's. So next Thursday, I'll be doing the reveal on the FTP flags. They're miniature tapestries like the other things that I do, except for they're gonna have FTP on them, and they're both like really cool patterns that I did on them. So.
That's not a
And I
shirt
figured-
then.
Shirts are harder to do a resist on because they're more than one layer and the material's different.
Okay.
But with the tapestries, I can pretty much take glue or wax and put in and.
Do you have my email address?
I don't think so. Pretty
Let
sure
me
I
give you
don't.
my email.
Okay.
It's Mark Burgess 323 at yahoo.com.
To what?
323
323. Okay.
at yahoo.com.
All right. Okay. Mine's just it's hippieconnection@gmail.
Oh, flustered. Hippie
Hippie with a Y. hippieconnection@gmail.com.
right pen. Of course, it doesn't want to write because it's. Okay, I'm just gonna.
Think about tie-dyeing FTP's beard. You'd have to bleach it out first, but that's very possible.
HIPPYCON
NNECTIO.
CONECTION at
Gmail.
gmail.com. Okay. What's the price? Around or about?
For what? A tapestry?
Yeah.
The FTP tapestries are going to go for $20 a piece.
Okay. All right.
Simply because those are ones I'm probably not going to want to hang on to.
I love, dude, but I got a thing for, look, well, no, I'm not going to show you right now. It's in the corner right there, but the FTP stick that poor Dirt Farmer gave me is awesome. I'm sure you've already seen it.
No.
But you have hold 2
No.
seconds. And I know you got to go.
Oh, that's so cool. I love it.
But it's got eyeballs
Oh, wow. That's totally like a Eureka thing.
and
Wow.
what does that look like? A little pig.
It does. That's crazy.
It's pretty cool. All right, I'll let you get going, and I'll leave you with that big pig head. It's awesome. I love it.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on the Freaky Friday Feelings panel. We will do this again on next Friday, 6:30-ish to 8:30-ish every Friday, as long as it doesn't interfere with any future employment. We will be doing this, and I'll try to have a topic every Friday for us to discuss. We can also openly talk about other things. Thank you all for participating and for joining us, and I appreciate every one of you. I can't wait till I see you again next Friday. Also, on Sundays, I also have a random Sunday chat. So we'll be doing another Sunday chat. Not necessarily about our feelings, but whatever anyone wants to talk about. And that'll be Sunday. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Till next time, take care of yourselves and be careful out there. Bye.